Hello, friends. Thank you for watching my podcast. I'm very excited today because I have Frank here, who is an expat in China. And right now, he's living the Chinese dreams. I cannot wait to hear about his journey. In today's episode, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship here in China, how to grow wealth, and how to secure your future money, and also how to maintain your mental health while doing all of this. I hope this content will inspire you all, especially you younger viewers, because I know we're living in an uncertainty, a lot of challenges, a new era. So I hope this content will be very insightful and you can learn from us. So let me welcome Frank. Thank you so much for doing this. Take us back. How did your life start here in China?
I originally came to China 2014. I wanted to do a volunteer program. Originally, there's a program in the U.S. called Peace Corps, but it took me some time to do. So I ended up, I got accepted, but it took about a year and a half to get into that program. At the same time, because that took so long, I did my research on another program, and there was another program, like a volunteer program, that brought me over to Changsha in Hunan province, and that program was called World Teach. So I volunteered at a middle school at that time. It was a volunteer program. They paid about like 3,000 kwai at that time in 2014. But throughout that time, that's what just I really got immersed in China, and yeah, I've been here ever since. Obviously, I've left here and there, but I've just been here ever since, and just as you said, trying to find a dream, right? The American dream, the Chinese dream, but more so like my dream, right? So trying to find the happy medium. So
Yes.
that's kind of what brought me here all those years ago.
Wow, that's super interesting. During all these years from the US, had a different perspective of China. So when you came here, did you had any expectations or none?
Um, the I did have expectation. The main expectation was that everything was going to be quite uniform, like in terms of like society and the people. And you definitely, when you come, you can see some of the uniformness inside of all that, but at the same time, there's a lot of individual life that's happening here. Everyone has their own individualistic approach to things. Although everyone has their community, collective approach to things, there's still different aspects of how people move and things of that nature. So I was definitely surprised to kind of see like, oh, there's people are very casual, people are very serious, professional, entrepreneurial. So you see so much. You see so much when you're here, and I think when you get here, you kind of see that um, you learn about like competition, like you learn about competing in not just like the Chinese world, but the global world as well. So yeah, it's definitely been an interesting journey so far.
So how long have you been teaching then?
So I taught from 2014 to 2015, and then again from 2021 until now. So about 5 to 6 years. So I studied here. Right. So that after my first semester year, I did my master's degree in a university in Beijing. So
Oh,
Beijing Language and Culture University, which is another perspective that I would have never even thought was a route or a journey that I could embark upon.
wow. How did that happen? How did you stumble on that program or the possibility?
Yeah, no, that the first word was correct. I literally stumbled upon it, right? So I was playing soccer one day, football as the world calls it, in Changsha with some foreigners, and then at the end of it, some of them had to go back to class or go back to campus, and my mind was just blown. I was like, "What do you mean back to campus? Are you studying here? How did that happen? How did you even go about finding the university? What is tuition fees like, especially coming from the States?" I didn't even want to think about that because of how high the tuition is in the States and just how high, monstrously high, tuition is in the States. I didn't even want to think about that. But when they told me about everything, I just did a quick Google search and I was like, wow, okay, this is actually a path that I can take. And that kind of it gave me a mental cognitive paradigm shift.
Wow.
So when I found out about that, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna give that a try. I'm what, 25 at the time, so like why, or 24 at the time, like why not? why not go ahead and embark on this journey? And it was definitely a good journey that led me to Beijing from Changsha, and I was at a university called Beijing Language and Culture University. So that's left a lasting impression on my life. It's like a core memory, so to speak.
Wow. And how long was the program?
So it was a 2 years master's program. They had several options, like to make it a 3 year program, to do the Chinese course first, to do an intensive Chinese course first, and then do the master's in Chinese. But I thought maybe a year of Chinese wouldn't have helped me for the rigors of that course of understanding the nuances of the program in Chinese. So I did the English program, which was a 2 year program, and then after finishing the program, I then embarked on on a Chinese course, which I don't mind that I did as well.
So prior to the master class, were you able to speak and understand Chinese?
Um, at a very, very basic minimal level, because I was still kind of like year one, year two, so I was still, learning my pinyin, learning the tones and things of that nature. But it definitely did help. Even though my program wasn't English itself, because I was at a Chinese university, they also sprinkled in a little bit of Chinese courses here, so that definitely helped with the improvement as well.
Wow. So you would recommend something like this for the younger viewers who are interested? Do you think that's a good path?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So that's actually one of the amongst aside from coming here to look for work or coming here to do business. That's also another avenue that I push for or I advocate for American students that are graduating high school or that just graduated college to look at China as a possible possibility for higher education. The universities are magnificent. The campuses are beautiful, very, very scenic campuses. All of the state-of-the-art technology, amenities, everything that you'll find in the West or other countries, you'll definitely find here, and sometimes even at like a more grandeur scale. So
Yeah.
I would definitely that's a pathway that I definitely recommend for a lot of the younger students that are coming up, or a lot of the younger people that are coming graduating high school, because you don't want to graduate high school and then go into college at 18, 19, and then when you finish at 22 or 23, whatever the age is, and then you're stuck with 60,000 to 100,000 plus dollars in student loans or euros or pounds in student loans, wherever your viewers are coming from. You don't want to, I think education might be a little bit better in those parts of the world like Europe and stuff, but if you're coming from America and the tuition price is quite high. So that's another thing that I do at bridgeacrosseducation.com. That's the program that I'm running in terms of like helping and advocating for younger people to kind of come and study in China. It's also kind of like how you do with your wealth management skills. This is like an early investment in their life that's not going to burden them, and it's low risk, but then the ROI, the return on investment is definitely worth it for
Exactly.
sure. Yeah.
And I will leave all the information after the video, so whoever's
No
in.
problem at all.
What about costs? Since you mentioned cost, you share with everyone how much it was costing you back then?
So actually, because like eh, in terms of price, Chinese universities are typically about 2,000 US dollars to about maybe 8 to 10,000. But now, like
Per
with
semester
China,
or per year?
uh, yeah, that's per year. That's per year. And yeah, sometimes in some cases you would find maybe like 8,000 to 10,000 would be enough for 4 years. You know what I mean? So you can
Wow.
couple that with $8,000, $10,000 bachelor's degree versus a 40,000 to 80,000 plus bachelor's degree in the US. And most times, like I was actually fortunate enough to get to study under the China's scholarship, right? So I had a Chinese scholarship, which literally paid for everything. So that was amazing in terms of dormitory, in terms of tuition, and I even got a stipend to allow me to take care of my day-to-day daily necessities and things of that nature. So, and China, where it's at now, they want to welcome a lot of international students, but a lot of international students don't know that they don't even know that this route is possible.
Exactly. Even for me, I just recently heard about it and saw it on social media, that it's even possible for foreigners and that there's stipends for foreigners. So that's super interesting. And talking about, you said 2000, between 2000 and 10,000 per year. I cannot believe it because when I studied in the US, in New York,
Oh, wow, okay.
I graduated from Pace University, and back then it
Nice.
was in the 90s, $4,000, $5,000. It's just like wow. And nowadays the tuitions are even higher. So, like you said,
Yeah.
it before you graduate, a lot of the students are feeling discouraged because they have to pay off a big chunk of debt. So I hope this content will open up their eyes. So jumping
Mhm.
from graduating with your master degrees and to your business venture, how did it all happen?
Yeah, so inside of that very same master's course, a lot of the teachers that I had, which were a lot of them are Chinese returnees, so they themselves studied in places like Canada, places like America, and other parts of the world. So they were very business savvy and business minded. They just felt like they wanted to come home, so they would always impart some of that knowledge into us, their students. So being that China is, they have the means of production pretty much on lock. Beans of production here is at a scale that is not matched anywhere else in the world. So there are a lot of opportunities for exporting, for just for doing business, especially doesn't matter if you're in Tianjin or Shanghai or Guangzhou, which is where I'm at. Um, you just kind of see so many different business opportunities and possibilities. So just from walking around to discussing with different people and going to trade shows. There's a very popular trade show that happens every year here in Canton. They have the Canton
Canton
Tower
Fair.
Fair,
Yes.
the Canton Fair. So you meet a lot of different vendors, and that place it's overwhelming, even for me. Like there's just so much walking around, so much like talking to people, discussing with people. Everyone is very friendly because obviously they're trying to get your attention. So that's kind of how it happened, like from the studying. Um, so from playing soccer to then studying to then
Bye.
kind of knowing, oh, so they kind of know like, whoa, this is an opportunity. Like, wow, okay, let me go to one of the trade shows. And I remember while being in one of the classes, one of my teachers mentioned like, there's trade shows that happen even in Beijing. Every province has their own speciality, their own trade shows here and there. So when she mentioned that something like this happens in the biggest one is in
And,
Canton Tower Fair. I was like, okay, let me go check that out.
and it's
At the
free,
time, I didn't
right?
have.
And it's free for us.
Say
And it's
and
free.
it's free. And it's you need the special badge, which and some companies charge for that badge if people don't know about it, but generally it's free. If you just go to the Canton Tower website, it's
Yep.
100% free to sign up for. So yeah, when at the time when I was studying, I didn't have so much resources to jump from Shenzhen to Yiwu to these type of places. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just target on one place. I heard about Canton Tower Fair, so I just started coming to the fair, and your eyes literally just jump out of your head and you're just like, wow, now you're like a kid in a candy shop. You wish you want to have everything, but you have to find your market. After you find your market, you then have to start, building the infrastructure inside of that market so that way, you can move the traffic towards you and things of that nature. That's kind of how I got started um with the business side of things here in China.
Wow. And you have started, you said during COVID time?
Yeah. So just after, oh, actually, yeah. So the plan was to start during COVID, and then obviously COVID, knocked not just myself, but knocked everyone back. But just after COVID, that's when I started doing a lot more of the business in terms of like helping people with their purchases here in China or welcoming people to China, showing them the different markets, sending containers for certain people. Um, if whatever I'm a consultant, right? A business consultant. So
Yeah.
whatever their needs are, they consult with me and then we find the best strategy to allow them to maximize their investments and get a nice ROI on their investments.
So anyone in the world who is interested like in selling stuff, they can contact you and you can outsource, help them with from A to Z.
Absolutely. Because at time, like like most of my customers, they come from America, the UK, or West Africa. So most times, they're not going to be able to just come over to China. Sometimes it's either time related, resource related, whatever the case might be. They have their own lives, but they have some extra. They have their own entrepreneurial spirit, and they themselves want to go ahead and try to get into the business world. So and they know that this is the market. So yeah, they just tell me what they're thinking, and I give them a strategy. Or some of the more seasoned ones, they know they already have their market. They already know exactly what it is they're looking for. All they need is just it's pretty much just the procurement and then the handling and then the logistics. So that one actually makes the job quite easy when the client kind of knows what it is they want to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and do you feel like this area is still growing or there's more competition? And especially now with the relationship between a lot of Western, especially USA, Canada, maybe some European countries, they ban Chinese items. Do you see any difficulties because of that?
The only main difficulties are like in terms of like sending certain things to a place like the US is there are a lot more red tape on like certain things that you can send. I remember having a potential client that wanted to get like the asthma inhalers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, the price here in China is extremely affordable versus the price in the States. And they're in the medical profession, so that's something that they wanted to do, but there's a lot of red tape that they would have to go through to import that into the US. Same thing with like EV cars. It's easier for me to send. In fact, I just sent not an EV car per se, but I just sent about two Chinese cars. One was a Trumpster, and then the other one I can't remember the name off my head, but one was a Trump chair. Sent both of those to a country in West Africa, and then that was very easy. But now, if I wanted to reroute that to the UK or to the US, that's where I would have a lot of issue with
Issues.
the
Yeah.
with just with just a lot of just like I said, just a lot of red tape and rules that
Hmm.
go inside of importing those kind of vehicles into the US or those kind of products into the US. So there's a little bit of red tape so whenever like clients from that side of the world, I just kind of like advise them on, what it is, their market is and how I can help them and
Wow.
which ones are easier to kind of get into into the States.
So let's jump into wealth building since
Okay.
you are in the middle of it, living your dream, becoming an entrepreneur. It sounds like everything's going really well. So how do you build your wealth and secure your future retirement from China?
That's a very good question. So well yeah, when it comes to that, the basic economic principle that I've always like kept in my mind is S equals I, which is pretty much just like savings equals investments. So you can't depend on any governmental body, any governmental structure to come and save you at the end of your retirement. And I when I was younger, my mother always used to watch this show called Golden Girls,
Oh,
and Golden Girls like
yeah.
only later did it come to my mind like golden like your golden years kind of a thing. You want to make sure that you're set, and in that show everyone was pretty much was kind of set up in their later years just always laughing and giggling and maybe hard times, tough times, but they were always financially secure in terms of like having their place to stay, having their family and their friends around their community. So those are kind of the things I think about now in terms of anytime I make anything, anytime any cash flow is coming my way, I'm making sure I'm just spending less because like I said, savings equals investments. And then when you do have that savings, there might be an opportunity that comes along that that is that's not taking too much of your resources. It just takes a little bit, and then it's going to bring you a nice return. But this is like an idea that I literally just came to maybe about like 4 or 5 years ago, because maybe 5 years ago, because when I first came to China, I also like was very young. I was like a kid in a candy shop, just kind of just kind of exploring and enjoying myself and
Yep.
things of that nature. And it was only like kind of when I started just a little bit like towards the end of my studies, that's when I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to shift, and that shift is cemented even more now because I'm having these retirement conversations with my mom, who's now retired, with my wife, who's really into, those kinds of that idea of, you have to, if you're not saving, then you're working for free. And you really do need to save so that way by the time, by the time you get older, you just like what they say in the plane. I think I mentioned this to you yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
when you're on the plane, you have to put your mask on first. And
Yeah.
sometimes putting that mask on in the event of any kind of emergency is really just to ensure your safety. So that savings is really to ensure your safety in the event of any sort of aftermath. So yeah, when it comes to like just being in China, like we're close to all of these places that it's come to travel to. So I just make sure anytime, I'm just always thinking about the future. So anytime when it comes to any sort of like business ideas, wealth ideas, I'm just thinking, okay, how much can I put into savings? How much can I put into saving? And then from there, if the price of gold is looking good, I'm like, okay, you know what, I can buy 1 gram or an ounce or whatever the case might be. And then that's a good wealth holder. And then things like stocks and ETFs. But yeah, these are kind of the things that I've been thinking about. Like you said, wealth building. For me now, it's kind of like wealth storage because, like I said, I'm just kind of like trying to find the investment vehicles that's going to protect my purchasing power through the times of difficulties and everything like that.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's a very good mindset. My advice was always, you should have started earlier. If you didn't had, it's never too late. So the main thing is you need to start. And like you said, for your priority is first maybe to have like a savings plan, like for emergency funds. That's very important, especially us living in a foreign country. You never know.
yeah,
Now, when is your last paycheck here? It sounds like that you're doing everything right because AI is taking over as we
yeah.
speak. They're taking over jobs. So you have to create your own job, and while doing that, also trying to save money and invest whatever you can, invest it, because nobody will pay your pension when you get older, and you cannot rely on paychecks anymore. That's obvious. So especially now the younger viewers, like I said in the beginning, I hope this content will encourage everyone, because I know a lot of young kids, they don't know what to do, how to start. So I hope with your stories and your life experience, some of the information will
Yeah.
cross over and encourage these people. I would love to have a second part because I know you have a lot to say and a lot to share with us. And
Absolutely.
me personally, because I'm an entrepreneur as well, I love these stories. I love to learn from others as well. And for now, I would say thank you so much because we're running out of time. I know you have a
No
meeting, I have
problem.
a meeting, but thank you so much, Frank. It
Absolutely.
was really insightful and very interesting how you start your life here in China. And it looks like it keeps growing. So fantastic.
By the grace of God, it's gonna keep growing. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, one last thing about mental health. How do you keep your mental sharpness while doing all of this?
Yeah. So especially like how we mentioned the other day in terms of just being so far away from home, being far away from family, you just have to take some time to breathe, to pray, to just be to yourself. For me, I like to go. There's a riverside close to where I live, so I typically go to the riverside. I just sit there and I just think. I think and I let everything out. Sometimes with a journal, but both times, like if I don't have my journal, I'm just kind of just watching the water. I believe like we need to see green nature. We need to see the river flowing or the ocean flowing or whatever the case is, and just kind of take some time to just be still and be thankful and just think about your plans, go over your plans. So that's for me. That's how I focus on my mental health. It's very very important.
Very
Extremely
good.
important.
That's a very good tip. And yes, sometimes you just have to take this offline,
Yeah, oh, for sure, for sure,
right?
for sure.
And just count our gratitude. That's what I do.
Absolutely.
Every morning I try to count my gratitude, even little things. Thankful for my coffee. Thank you for sunshine, and thank you for this interview
Absolutely.
with you. Wonderful.
Absolutely. Nice
So,
segue.
yes. All right. So let's say have a wonderful day, everyone,
All right.
and
You guys.
watch for part 2 with Frank.
All right. Thank you, Ella. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.